So as you know, I'm super passionate about conservation and restoration. So when we met in Magna and I heard you talking about some of those things, it kind of blew my mind because I know about the tank, but I don't know a whole lot about your views on that.
So we are looking to help fund both causes, the hobby and conservation, and where we can meet and join in the middle is sort of the most interesting to me. That means looking at things like coral spawning, and so that we can actually spawn our own corals for the hobby and not take from the reefs. Things like biota and all these breeding things going on. I can imagine this hobby in the next 10, 15 years, you know, most fish and coral coming from growers and not the ocean.
I love that view into the future. It gives me goosebumps, and it's exactly what I hope to see too.
Yeah, really would be great for all of us.
Y'all, I am Brandi from Elos America and Aquarium Partners, and I have the absolute pleasure to be here in the home of Andrew Sandler.
It's been a pleasure having you guys.
I've loved it, every single second of it. So one of the things that I am really passionate about is conservation and restoration and education in particular, and I think we've probably talked about it probably maybe more than you want to, because I keep bringing it up. And I am super excited to hear about all the things that you have planned going on for Polo Reef. And I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to hear some of the ideas you have regarding education and other initiatives that you're hoping to get started in the future.
So I guess our goal here would be to really do 3 or 4 things, and where they intersect, it's the best. So we want to A, educate the hobby on anything we particularly learn, because we have a big system and the hobby can learn from it, whether that's spawning, habitats, or behaviors, to anything water chemistry and any of that stuff. We obviously want to provide inspiration for people to go for things like this, or even start small things. I'm good with both, and as you know, when people say happy reefing, it doesn't matter. That's really the truth. The third thing we want to do is create that spark in young kids. Right? I was sparked with my grandfather. He used to take me. You know, I'm not sure I remember the event, the day. I don't think it matters. I think that ignition just needs to be there. So we're supporting. We'll be supporting some marine science programs. Schools, particularly schools where the state actually has curriculum in marine sciences, and actually looking to push marine science courses and interaction with kids in schools, even states that don't.
Super important.
So I would work with local aquariums. Also, that's another thing to get people in. And of course, we'll be hosting plenty of school trips and things like that. So maybe I can create the spark here.
So you mentioned that a little bit about your grandfather, and you told me that the first day I was here, and I literally got goosebumps hearing this story. Do you mind going into that again? How did you first get into the hobby, and how old were you?
I was certainly under 10 in the 8-9-year-old range, and I used to ride my bicycle on very dangerous streets. Definitely parents with different times, and get fish and put them in the basket and drive home. You know, I went through the typical rite of passage, right? 10 gallons to 20 gallons. Live bearers became African cichlids, and the tanks got a little bigger. Then African cichlids turned to discus, and I did my first saltwater tank in high school.
Wow.
In high school, and left some instructions for my father, which that didn't work out well.
I can imagine.
When I went to school, so we took a 3.5-year break in college, and actually my senior year, someone gave me something incredible that I never seen before. It was the first time I actually saw one of these wet dry filters with the shelves, and we set up a tank for a semester and a half.
Oh my gosh!
And that
in your dorm?
It wasn't a dorm. I was living out off campus in an apartment.
But you were still in college.
I was in college, and it re-provided a spark. And then since I
rekindled it.
After that, it became a must in every house I was building or whatever.
So you truly understand the importance of starting this young and having some freedom of playing around and being in control of those tanks?
Seems like there are those that jump in big when they're older, but it seems like the natural progression of things that the kids end up with something, and whether it's a beta bowl or a goldfish bowl, and it just keeps going. Well, the people that just jump into it, they usually are what they're getting themselves into either. So that's a dangerous thing.
And over their head almost.
And over their head, yeah.
So one of the things that I think is super valuable, and I'm just curious on your opinion on this, is when you've experienced that it tends to ignite your passion just not for an aquarium, but for science in general. Do you think that impacted your feelings towards science at all?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we invest in science in our hedge fund, and so I'm very used to following the science, which is why, I find this new science of coral spawning and creating new corals, ability to create things don't need to be taken from the reef. To me, that is the most promising thing this hobby has going for it. And then even the marine fish breeding feels like it's getting bigger and bigger and broader. So I think in 10, 15 years, this whole hobby, a chunk of this hobby will be kept.
That's the last point I want to highlight is your opinion on taking the things from the reef.
Most of this tank actually came from tank breakdowns, really collect wild specimens. Obviously there are fish that were taken from reefs here, and we did it before they closed in Hawaii, etc. I'm sort of pretty balanced about it. I would prefer not taking them and leaving them there. If the hobby can really get agricultural coral from the growers or grown genetically, that's where this is going.
I agree. And I sometimes find myself torn because I'm like, I don't know if I should have it in my house, but I also know that people feel so connected when they have an opportunity to see something like that. And I feel like when we are doing these things, we have an obligation to share. And I just have to say, I respect you so much for opening up your home regularly so that you can share this. And I think you're really pushing the boundaries for not just the hobby, but for science and education and the future of our world.
I hope so. Someday to contribute in writing our own papers or having someone write our papers for us.
I'm good at that.
But I hope so. And we have the ability to do it here.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Till next time.